I didn't have any plans to do another video. I don't profess to be a pundit or a vlogger or anything like that. And I wasn't going to say, this is my team and all that kind of stuff. But I am one of those people that does watch the videos put out by other people. I do enjoy a certain element of them. Some I don't, some I do. And I'll promote the ones that I really like. But I was watching a video by We Are Tottenham Fan TV, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it. I've met the guys, Ben and Sim, and they are really good guys, and they care about the club, and they love their football. So and they're entitled to their opinions the same as everybody else. So I was watching their video when they were meeting up with some Chelsea people that obviously do something similar. I've not watched it myself, but each to their own. And as I say, I wasn't thinking about doing a video, but they started to talk about Abramovich saying that he's going to send any anti-Semitic Chelsea chanting fans to Auschwitz to actually get an education. And these guys were talking about the use of the word Yid. So I may say some words in this that might offend a few people. That's not my intention. It's just to debate and to say how I feel about the whole situation. And of course, you're entitled to your opinion. So anyway, these guys are talking about the use of the word Yid, and basically saying that if you're allowed to say it, then we're allowed to say it. So you shouldn't say it. So then we won't say it. Guys, I have to say, you need to know your history. The irony of hearing that kind of talk from Chelsea fans, and granted, they are young guys, so to a certain extent, you've got to count that in, I guess. But the irony of hearing it from Chelsea fans is astounding. So, as I've said before in videos, I started going football in '78 when I was 11. I went with some mates, Les, Northie and Ricky. Made loads of friends and all the rest of it. Got right into it. Now, as a kid, I didn't really understand the issue of being Jewish or anything like that. It was only through going football I actually picked up on these kind of things, and I'm standing in the cage in the shelf side with all my mates, and you've got Chelsea fans there, and West Ham who were just as bad. I didn't get it so much from scum Arsenal fans, but we did get it from Liverpool and from Manchester United as well. The songs of Hitler's Gonna Get Ya, Spurs are on their way to Auschwitz, lots of hissing noises and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, initially, I was thinking, well, what the fuck is all this about, And it was only through talking to other fans that turn out to be Jewish that you understand that actually what they were doing was really derogatory to my friends, to the people around me. There were people that were really upset by it, and quite rightly so. I mean, bearing in mind, the 70s is only, 30 years after the end of World War II, where all this kind of, real, terrible things happened. So being Jewish in London, from, before that time, but even up until that time, was not always a great thing. They got a lot of abuse, whether that was just verbally or physically. But Tottenham, along with other clubs, I mean, West Ham have got plenty of Jewish fans. Arsenal got plenty of Jewish fans, so there's plenty of Jewish fans out there of other clubs. But for some reason, because of our fan base, Chelsea in particular, decided that, this was a really good way of getting into us. But for me, I standing there with Jewish fans and all the rest of it, I felt for him. I felt at that time that was, a terrible situation. Bearing in mind, this is also the time when the National Front, which is like the precursor to Britain First and all those kind of right wing people, the National Front were out there, and they hated people of colour, whether you be black or whether you be Turkish or Indian or whatever, Bangladeshi, which was quite a lot at the time. Bearing in mind, there were the problems of the world, Uganda and the war in Cyprus and stuff. So there were a lot of people of different sort of colours coming to London, and the National Front didn't like it. So they started to try to recruit people around football grounds. But I'm grateful and happy to say that Tottenham was not one of those grounds. We wouldn't have them. We wouldn't have the National Front at our ground. We chased them off. And there'll be plenty of people out there that will tell you the same story. But we chased them off. We didn't want them there. And this is at a time when Chelsea was still in their skinhead punk National Front time, before the money and all that sort of stuff. So, that was a real breeding ground for, racial hatred. And Chelsea and West Ham were at the forefront of that. Tottenham weren't. Tottenham were inclusive. My best friend who I went to football with, who's a great guy, still goes football with his daughter, and I love him to bits, Ricky Price, he's black, he's from Jamaica, his family are from Jamaica. But you won't find a Cockney boy like Ricky, because for me, we were just mates at school. We went football, we were Spurs fans, we were Yids. So the taking on of Yids and Yid Army and that kind of stuff comes from a place of support and togetherness of the people that were standing around us in the ground. Now, this is 40 years on, and I'm talking to Jewish fans at Wembley and stuff, because I did a video before myself about my flag, which had the word Yids on it, which I've had to cover up because the stewards at Wembley didn't like it. So I've spoken to Jewish fans. I've got some Jewish fans who sit near me in my season ticket seat, and they said to me, we don't find this offensive. We take support from it because we know that here, this place, we're not excluded. We are not separate from the rest of society as they have been and have been treated over, many centuries even of time. So for Chelsea fans to stand there and say, oh, you shouldn't use it because then we wouldn't use it, I'm sorry, I smell bullshit, because you'll do it anyway. You'll do it anyway. But it's not, you don't come there and go, your Yids, your Yids, your Yids. Chelsea fans come and they go, Hitler's going to get you. Or they go, and all this sort of business. Now, that's nothing to do with the word. That's to do with a perception that we should all be killed because of an association with religion. Now, personally, I've been to Auschwitz. I've visited there this year. Me and my wife went to Poland, brilliant place. And we went to Birkenau and we went to Auschwitz. And I recommend that if you've got any doubts, you go there. And you don't just think about the numbers, the 6 million people or whatever. You actually see the faces, the pictures, the names of those people and the stories of how badly they were treated. And then you'll realise that actually being a Yid and being supportive is far better and far more relevant than what you're doing and the need to try and stop us from saying what we want to say. So for me, I don't care what any other team wants to call themselves, and we've had these conversations and debates about if Brighton wanted to call themselves the Gay Army, for instance, or something similar. Now, Brighton get some stick because Brighton is seen as a high area for gay people. Well, yeah, but there's a big gay community in Manchester, there's a big gay community in Birmingham and London and everywhere else. And people will go there and they may sing stupid songs like "We Can See You Holding Hands" and stuff like that. But that's not saying you should be killed because you are gay, you know, and you should be excluded. And, you know, someone, I don't know, whoever the person who hates gay people the most is going to come and get you, you know. So there is a difference. But I personally wouldn't have any issue with a club that has a massive following of people from, you know, Greece, for instance, calling themselves Bubbles, for instance. Like, you know, I'm not saying that's right, but if the majority of those fans identify in that way and were getting abuse because of their Greek heritage, then from my point of view, I'm saying, take it back. That's your right. You stand together, you know? So I guess to wrap it up, for me, being a Spurs fan takes away your colour, your religion, your sexuality, and all those kind of other things that need to be there, because we're black, we're white, we're Greek, we're Turkish, we're, you know, I don't know, women, gay, whatever, but we're Spurs fans, and we're Yids because we stand with the Jewish community that comes to our grounds, because we want them to feel as safe as everybody else in that ground. So Chelsea boys, think about it. You stop hissing, you stop singing "We're Going to Auschwitz," maybe there wouldn't be a need for Tottenham fans to stand next to each other under that banner. Something to think about. And then just one last thing, I hope we absolutely smash her. I hope we smash her. Up the Spurs.